To have two back-to-back pictures of her experiencing nature, could she have simply stopped to ground herself? Yeah, this is something very enlightened people randomly do, no matter where and when, such as myself. That's the beauty of it. You ground wherever, especially when stressed. So in Zanzibar, he wanted us to believe that Ashlee's erratic behavior just returned out of the clear blue sky on April 6th, 22 days later, and right when arriving to Zuri Zanzibar resort, the one day after her birthday. He says the first of several public outbursts happened at lunch April 6th with her server present. And on day 2 that followed, we engaged in a series of heated discussions in our villa, as well as public areas instigated by these outbursts. Ashlee's behavior had even become more bizarre than before I observed at Ben. Wait for it. He then offers us to look at picture 20 for the, quote, erratic behavior. Now let's break down picture 20. I have not and would never yell or scream at you in public. So in private's okay? And then he continues, without punctuation and individual texts that are coming at her multiple succession. You put your hands on me yesterday. You threw a snowboard helmet at my head at point blank range. You screamed in public multiple times in Ben, now in Zanzibar. You really don't see an issue here? Do you? Yes or no? To which she replied, this is really not a conversation I will continue to have over text. When and if you are ready to speak either on the phone or in person, that is fine. You are not hearing my point of view. I keep hearing yours and acknowledging them. To which he replied, I just asked a yes or no question. Now, child, this woman had the patience of Job because, you completely ignoring her boundaries and definitely not being the quiet, reserved man he wants us to believe. Did y'all catch it? That statement literally contradicts his words. It looks as like he's offering proof she hit him by stating that she put her hands on him yesterday, threw the snowboarding helmet, and hit him in the head at point blank range. It appears he's using this as an incident from the Ben trip on March 13 to the 16th to now establish that she hit him in Zanzibar. But by his own words, this is April 6th. The timeline is off. And she also clearly states her boundaries of not wanting to speak over text and having already acknowledged hearing his points of the disagreement and highlighting that he has not responded or heard her point of view. Continuing his verbal attack, he says, quote, I just asked you a yes or no question, end of quote. We don't get any other parts of the conversation, and like most texts, they are heavily edited to favor his narrative. This is a classic narcissistic gaslighting behavior where a person refuses to acknowledge boundaries clearly set by another party and instead continues to insist that their questions are answered. An online search will show how classic narcissistic gaslighters work. They will often bombard the other party with multiple contradictory statements to make the other person doubt their own reality. They may accuse you of actions not committed, deny events that happened, or twist facts until you agree to their version, even when false. This is a deliberate manipulation tactic designed to control, devalue, and keep a person dependent on them for validation. Survivors of abusive relationships like this say that fearing for their life is very common. A person will go into fight or flight mode when isolated and controlled by a gaslighting narcissist. So Joe, he continues on painting a picture that she was not herself, very aggressive and erratic. Yet there's no direct proof to what he's stating other than him stating it. So he goes on to say, she was chain smoking cigarettes. I'm sorry. How you gonna go? That's a big... Cigarettes is funky. How we just gonna go from being cool, chill to chain smoking cigarettes? That's a big jump. To me, we would have been on somebody's couch, but that's another conversation. Ashlee did smoke. She woke up and drank a bottle of white wine immediately. I ain't never seen her drink in the morning except maybe a glass of wine or mimosa at brunch. This was not Ashlee at all. This was someone else. Now, if you done turned into a possessed exorcist bitch, why the fuck are we on vacation and not at the doctor trying to get your ass checked out? Joe, you were definitely failing as a potential husband materials. Lord have mercy. Like, this woman went from being polished to chain smoking cigarettes. She was getting put through some stuff, y'all. That's how I feel. And this is all allegedly, of course. Okay, it's going to get a little confusing here. Again, other texts show his aggressive responses, and there's no evidence of Ashlee being aggressive, yelling, or fighting with him other than the carefully curated text he's providing as proof of her acting erratically and for no reason other than the concussion. What would cause her to want to call off an engagement and not wear the ring? Which, by his own admission, she never took off until it was time for Ashleejenae to be proposed to. He even provided time and location stamped pictures, number 3 through number 6, showing her wearing the ring and not removing it. So why did she stop wearing it, other than for him to propose to her online persona for optics? Instead, his timeline continues as she was acting erratic for no reason. Throughout our, quote, time in Zanzibar, Ashlee demanded that I take the engagement ring back from her and insisted that I call off the engagement. I declined every time and told her, I want you to be my wife. I'm sorry, I'm just not believing this shit. He continues, she took off the ring and placed it in the safe at the villa. Eventually, I was able to calm her down so we could at least go out and enjoy the beach together. So she's just running around, just acting crazy. There is no... there's no connection. Okay, so in what proved to be a last pleasant escape from reality, he continues, Ashlee wanted to shoot some content of her riding horses on the beach. So we got ready, headed down there. Okay, now, why does it make it seem like all she wanted to do was fight and then make content? I mean, who does that? And in reality, if you're painting this picture, are you not maybe allegedly painting an alibi? Because if they're traveling all over the world and she just all of a sudden starts acting crazy, he definitely should have been with her or canceled this trip or did something instead of being in Zanzibar. He continues, when we arrived, she forgot the ring and wanted it in her photos. She went back to the villa but forgot the code to the safe. She came back frustrated. But I told her I'll go get it and to not worry. When I arrived to the room, I sent her a pic of the safe showing the time delay remaining so she'd have a sense of when I'd return and to calm her. Okay, y'all. This is grating my nerves at this point. So pic 21. Now, y'all, this does not make any sense at all. She was so upset that he sent her a copy of how much time was left on the safe that she triggered the lockout on herself. Why would she not be calm having to wait less than 10 minutes? Like, I think it said 7 minutes. The pic shows 7 minutes left, and the walk back would have been about 3 minutes because, well, it was 7 minutes when she walked back. Do the math. Why do we need to have him send proof of what he was doing? Does this make anyone's mind wonder, why is she so worried about his whereabouts? Mr. We're together 90% of the days we dated? Is this a pattern where she maybe tolerated it while they were dating, but now they're engaged? It's a deal breaker? Did something happen there with another person or persons that would cause her to want to call off the engagement and not wear the ring? Now, keep in mind, he made it a point to say they spent 98% of their time together, which in itself is another sign of a controlling narcissist and a codependent behavior, all very unhealthy. Was he continuing to establish his alibi with a photo, allegedly? Because, yeah, the sun sets at 6:24 East Africa time. Was she worried about missing the sunset while Joe was in the room with the safe, with a picture timestamp for 12 hours earlier, allegedly attempting to create an alibi? Because did y'all catch that? Did you spy what I spied in the picture? His phone is no longer used in military time, and he cropped her name out at the top. Makes me wonder if he was using her phone, another phone, while she's trying to catch the sunset. Maybe she was battling toxic, narcissistic, gaslighting behaviors in the background that's being disguised as love. So let's continue to revisit her erratic behavior as described by only one person, the very and only one person that's left to have this discussion. An online search shows that the duration of a concussion can vary based on severity and individual recovery. Generally, symptoms can last from a few days to a few weeks, with an average recovery time about 10 days. Most people typically recover 7 to 10 days, but some can take longer. Full recovery is often achieved within 1 month. Now, based off of this interview, he is painting the picture that she is still suffering from the effects of a concussion sustained back on March 13th and is acting erratic and not like herself. But in real honesty, after only being with someone for 16 months, do you really know how they act? Oh, that's right. He established that he knows her very well because they've been together 98% of the time. Now, even if everything he states are facts and she was still suffering from the effects of a concussion, at one point, wouldn't it be labeled a traumatic brain injury or a TBI? And that would actually be diagnosed by the doctor in those last 30 to 45 days, which actually fits the timeline. Most importantly, though, the ME or medical examiner would have seen signs of said TBI during the autopsy. To further the narrative of it being only Ashlee, he states, shortly thereafter, Ashlee and I were chilling out on the lounge chairs in the sand. When it was time to go, I got up to walk to the bar to pay our bill. At this moment, Ashlee began another outburst that drew attention of nearby security personnel. I told her I was simply going to pay the bill and pleaded with her to remain calm. She decided she'd go back to the villa, and I told her I would stay behind and watch the sunset. When Ashlee left, I decided to contact Zurich Zanzibar Guest Services via WhatsApp and to inquire about a separate villa. He uses picture 21 as a reference point to him showing that at 6:28, now I want y'all to pay attention to that, 0628, the last picture at the safe. Now the timestamp being 12 hours too early to me says some things. It states that this occurred between 0602 and 0628, or in the morning. Another contradiction where he stated they took their last picture at sunset, but it's wrong. If one is trying to establish an alibi, allegedly, this paints the picture that she was frustrated right before he requested another room. Wouldn't it make more sense that he changed the combo to create a reason to upset her? But why is the million-dollar question. That is the beautiful joy of dealing with the narcissist. There really is no why. There never has to be one. Allegedly, he's painting a picture that she's just running around, randomly picking fights and acting erratically, yelling at him, being abusive, fitting a stereotype of what people say black women are. And the reality is, we're not. There is no hotel CCTV showing any of this. We actually have no footage of them at the resort, which is odd. Just Joe's account of what happened and edited text messages, as if her life meant this little. That's why we're doing this, y'all. Let's get on to picture 22. The last picture of them together at sunset in the ocean. Quote, "The following is one of the last photos of me and Ashlee together. She requested that a bystander take some pics of us, and in true Ashlee fashion, she was directing the production while displaying the ring." End of quote. In this statement, he seems to be insinuating that she cared more about being perfect and appearances than reality, which goes into stark contrast to what she showed us online. She spoke of living a soft life. So if he wasn't capable of sustaining that lifestyle, which includes respecting her boundaries, then yes, she would have every reason to not want to remain with him. Yet all he can show for an explanation of this quote erratic behavior is a concussion sustained 22 days before it made her a whole new person. Something the doctor that saw and treated her for did not find. All right, y'all. Looks like Dr. Joe is inserting his takes on things and wanting us to believe it again because the math ain't mathing. Moving on to pic 2, it shows him asking for another room at 18:38 hours or 6:38 p.m., with them responding back about an hour later at 19:32 hours or 7:32 p.m. He showers and says she picks another fight. I then walk back to the villa after taking my shower and Ashlee initiating another heated discussion. It was at this moment I finally told her, okay, give me the ring back. The engagement's off. She reacted by yelling and smashing lamps and glassware in the room and telling me, amongst other things, I hope I choke and die right here tonight. Interestingly, the Zanzibar Times reports that he said she was having thoughts of harming herself. Didn't nobody else say that? Like literally, there are no other records of anyone but him reporting her saying this. And during the time, someone from the neighborhood at Villa 24 contacted the front desk letting them know that a couple in Villa 25 was having a disagreement. Within minutes, 4 security guards showed up at our Villa 25. Suddenly, Ashlee became calm and explained to the security that there was no issue, that everything was fine, even going on to say to them that as a woman in this situation, I would let you know if there was something wrong. Please note that the hotel staff never reported what was said, only Joe. And is this, I wonder, when she asked for the phone charger? Anyway, he continues at this point. The head of security asked if we needed some time or separate villas. I volunteered to get a separate villa and explained to them that I was already in touch with guest services over WhatsApp. My bags are already packed. I left to head to the reception desk, handed off my key to Villa 25, and received my key for Villa 65. Once safely away from Ashlee at the reception desk, Ashlee's mother, Yolanda, tried calling me and texted me that Ashlee wouldn't answer her phone calls and that Ashlee was texting, quote, terrible things, end of quote. Now, this timeline, y'all, doesn't make sense, and it doesn't fit what he's saying. He says he gets to the room as Yolanda is texting him the new room, and that she's worried about Ashlee's alarming text to her. This is at the 10:17 p.m. window when he's walking with the hotel staff to get his room. Now, I'm going to need y'all to remember something. Remember that blue and green text colors are what gets sent and clear text are what's received. Now look at pic 28. There's no military time and all the scent bubbles are blue, indicating that Joe sent these texts and is communicating with who we are to believe is Ashlee. However, there's 2 different accounts that hurt this theory. She was found hurt at approximately 8:55 p.m. by the hotel staff, as documented in the Citizen newspaper. And also, when Joe finally did reach out to Yolanda, he said that she had hurt herself some 11 hours earlier, which fits that time frame, makes it about 9 o'clock. So was Joe texting with both phones? And if so, couldn't he have accessed her phone to text at a previous date and time? And why show some of the full text and cut off who the text is coming from and others? So I'm going to back up a little bit. Okay, so remember, Yolanda also stated that when Joe called that one time on April 9th and said she had hurt herself 11 hours before, but she was stable. So, y'all, that's the citizen and Joe to Yolanda confirming her injuries happened at around 8:55 p.m. Is this further supported by him trying to call her between 8:29 p.m. to 8:35 p.m.? This doesn't make sense to me. He says he took a shower and fought with Ashlee, then left. Where was Joe from 8:35 p.m. to 10:17 p.m.? He says he left with the hotel staff when they were called by room 24. But there's a big time gap. Was he in another room, at the bar, walking around? Sun sets at 6:24 p.m. almost every day at the same time due to the location of Zanzibar being so close to the equator. So it's reasonable to say that Joe headed from the beach within sunset and around 7:32 p.m. when he got the last WhatsApp message from the hotel. So from approximately 7:32 p.m. to 10:21 p.m., Joe was with Ashlee alone. He sets the timeline that he returned after sunset to their shared room to shower, pack, then change rooms. By his own account, he was changing rooms when he learned of the disturbing text messages from her mother first, then the hotel. For almost 3 hours or 2 hours and 49 minutes, Joe was with Ashlee alone. Allegedly. We don't have any text messages or records of what happened other than the guest in room 24 having to report the violent argument and that he had already requested a new room approximately an hour before the violent argument, which is very, very telling in itself, at 6:35 p.m. via WhatsApp. Look at pic 28. What looks more like proof he allegedly had her phone? Remember the color of the SMM bubbles? Green, blue, I'm sending, and clear, I'm receiving. Well, in this text, he looks to be pleading with her to pick up the phone, with the last message from her being sent at 10:30. Do you notice the time? It's not in military time. So his whereabouts are unknown, and it allegedly appears he has her phone. Who is texting from Ashlee's phone during this time, and why is he calling from 8:29 p.m. to 8:35 p.m. when this is the time they were together? Or where was he? To have two back-to-back pictures of her experience